morning, everyone. This is Lisa from Happytohook Creations, and it is June. I lost a day. It is June 18th, 2019. Yesterday was our 31st wedding anniversary, so we had a wonderful day. Got to see all 4 of the children. It was awesome. Yeah, I posted some pictures on Facebook, so if you're friends with me, you can hop over there and have a look-see. But it was a really good day, so I hope everyone had a great weekend. We did. And today is the movie classic fun facts about our June movie, which is 1942's William Wyler's Mrs.Miniver. If you have not seen the movie, excuse me, you should take a look at it. William Wyler admitted when he made the film that he made it because he wanted America to join the fight against the Nazis. So, you know, if you hear words, you know, propaganda and exposing and plight of the British, that's exactly what he wanted. He wanted us to feel so sorry for the British that, you know, that we would just kind of step in. And there was, you know, we were already helping, you know, with a lot. So that's why, that was one of the actual main reasons that he made this film. Now, there's a fact in here that I'm going to tell you later on after I get to it. I think it's like our last fact, or next to the last. So let's just go through them. I have 8 plus a bonus, and it's man, now all of a sudden I can't talk. And did I bring my tea? No, I did not. So Mrs.Miniver was filmed in 1942. It starred Greer Garson, Walter Pidgeon, and Teresa Wright, among others. Now, the actor Richard Nye that played the son Vin, I think, was it was his film debut. So, now my number 1 fact, since we brought him up, after the movie, I'm gonna see if I can read this here. After the movie was completed, okay, Greer Garson, who was, I believe I hope I read it right, she was 12 or 13 years older, his senior, than Richard Nye, they got married. So yeah, so the actor that played her son in the movie Mrs.Miniver became her husband in real life after the film was finished shooting. So yeah, and they were married for 4 years until she filed for divorce for mental and physical cruelty. Yeah, so there's that. Number 2 is a really nice fact. Mrs.Miniver was at the time the first movie to receive 5 acting nominations. So not nominated for like Best Picture, Best Score, 5 nominations for Best Actor, Supporting Actor, Best Actress, Supporting Actress, and something else. Something else. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Best Picture. Any director maybe? But yeah, 5. And at the time that was a record. So, and like I said, this was 1942. And the Oscars that year was the 15th. It was the 15th Oscars. So there's that. So now we're back to William Wyler. So, and this is number 3. So like I said, William Wyler made the film to show Americans the plight of the British. Now, number 4 goes into this because I've already told you they wanted them to, you know, they wanted America to feel, you know, bad and kind of empathy and for the British so that they could join the war against the Nazis. Well, our fact number 4 is William Wyler joined the army after filming Mrs.Miniver. And because he was sent overseas, he saw what everybody else was seeing. He dealt with whatever, you know, everyone else was dealing with, because this was war. When he was done, and actually while he was overseas, he received his Oscar. He won an Oscar. excuse me. And when he got back home and was interviewed, he admitted, he said, you know, after being in the Army and seeing what I saw and, you know, everyone else, he said, I absolutely believe that Mrs. Miniver was entirely too light when it came to the war. So, you know, had he had it to do it over again, it would definitely be more war. He said it was just entirely too light of a movie after he served in the Army. So, and unfortunately, sometimes that's what it takes. You think you have a spin on something or an idea of how something's going to be or will be or should be, then you deal with the real life situation. You deal with what everybody else was dealing with and you know, being away from their families and, you know, somebody dying in front of you or, you know, bombs going off, guns flying, you know, everything. He had absolutely, he really and truly had no idea until he was in the military. That's kind of, I don't know, that's interesting to me. It's just interesting. So, yeah. So number 5 is Greer Garson's acceptance speech when she won for Mrs. Miniver was 5.5 minutes long. And do you know that record hasn't been broken yet? According to the internet, she is still, if you look it up, and it says longest acceptance speech, it will say Greer Garson for the 15th Oscars when she won her Oscar for actress. So 5.5 minutes. And you don't think it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but we actually, you know, we were timing, like talking for 5.5 minutes and we're like, wow, okay, I guess that is kind of a long time. When people are sitting there and they're waiting for everybody else to, you know, for the other Oscars to be announced and everything. 5.5 minutes might as well have been an hour. So, but yeah, but 5.5 minutes. And so now, of course, they'll just cut you off and not even care. They'll just start the music and go to commercial or go to the next presenter or whatever. So, yeah. All right, number 6. Mrs. Miniver is the second film out of 8 films that Greer Garson starred in with Walter Pidgeon. I love the two of them together. So if you like Greer Garson, or even if you don't, you really need to check out her films. Standing Alone by Herself or with Walter Pidgeon. She was just a really great actress, and her and Walter Pidgeon together it was just their chemistry was amazing. So you absolutely have to check out their films that they made together. And you know, one of my favorite films doesn't even star Walter Pidgeon. One of my favorite Greer Garson's, Random Harvest. Oh, that movie gets me every time. If you have not seen Random Harvest, you need to check it out. My library has it, so I know yours probably will if you don't already own it. It was such a great film. Yeah, I'm not even gonna tell you about it. I don't like messing things up if you haven't seen the movie. But if you think it's something you're interested in, it's called Random Harvest. It stars Greer Garson and I think it's Coleman. His name was Coleman. Man, I can't think of his first name. I'll get it. But you have to check it out. It was awesome. All right, and you will hear kids in the background. I'm in the kitchen because it's gonna thunderstorm and the lighting in there is not all that great. Excuse me, but 3 of the kids are watching Coco in the living room, so you might hear them singing or some of the music. So, number 7, the actress Teresa Wright, who played Mrs. Miniver's daughter. She is the only performer to be nominated for an Oscar for the first 3 films ever made. So what that means is her first 3 films that she came out as an actress, the first 3 films she ever made, she was nominated for Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress in all 3. That's a record. So, and I have the movies. The first one, I believe it was 1941, The Little Foxes. She starred in that one with Betty Davis. and 1942's Pride of the Yankees, which she starred in with Gary Cooper, where she played Lou Gehrig's wife. And then, of course, in Mrs.Miniver. And Mrs.Miniver, she ended up winning an Oscar for that, for Best Supporting Actress. Excuse me. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And she lived, I don't know, 86. I always remember her, like, I know she did movies later in life, other things, but one of my favorite movies that I used to watch, like, all the time, because, you know, I'm a hopeless romantic, was Somewhere in Time with Jane Seymour and Christopher Reeve. And she plays Jane Seymour's assistant when she was older. So if you haven't seen that movie, you definitely need to check it out. Yeah, it was good too. Okay, all right. So number 8, Walter Pidgeon. Sorry, they're getting loud. I'm sorry. I was gonna tell them to be quiet, but I'm almost done. But anyway, Walter Pidgeon's first wife, her name was Edna, and they were married for 4 years, and then she died giving birth to their daughter, who he named Edna because, you know, in memory of his wife. He had a secretary. 5 years after his wife died, he married her, and him and his secretary were married until Walter himself passed away, and that was 53 years later, which I thought was awesome. So, yeah, they were married for 53 years until his death. So, yeah, he was just that kind of a guy. And speaking of Walter Pidgeon, this is my bonus. He actually went to school to sing. He was very musical. He had a great singing voice. He was in several musicals in his early life, and he just decided that because the only parts he was getting were parts in movies that he had to sing, and he wanted to do some real dramatic acting. So Fred Astaire kept telling him, you know, go, just keep doing, you know, get you an agent, and he'll get you all these great musicals. And he's like, no, I just don't want to do that. So he turned down the part in Showboat, and he just decided from there, nope, I want to be an actor. I don't want to be typecast as just being in musicals. And so he didn't sing. You know, he didn't do musicals after that, but he was in some great films. So it worked out okay. And if you read anything about Walter Pidgeon, if you find anything negative about him, it would be a miracle, because he was just an all-around nice guy. And, you know, Greer Garson they said she was just a very classy lady, and the same with Teresa Wright, very devoted, very loving. And, you know, they remained friends, which I think is really cool. Because sometimes when you work on films, you don't get along with your co-stars, or, you know, because they're always doing, there's always drama. But, yeah, so there you have it. And they're getting loud. Guys, sorry, they were getting really loud, so I had to kind of intervene. Now, I have a bonus. So you guys know how much I love my classic movies, right? So we're kind of doing some light remodeling to the house, just stuff that we can do ourselves without having to bring contractors in or whatnot. So we're moving things around, and I'm organizing stuff and throwing things away. I just don't do yard sales. I'm just not that person. I will go to them, but I just don't do them. And I found this book, and I was just like, oh, and I just fell in love all over again. So I read the entire thing again because it's awesome. And I know this was purchased on Amazon, but it was years and years ago. But look what I found. I found my leading couples book. This was so exciting for me. At the top, I don't know if you saw that, but it says the most unforgettable screen romances of the studio era. All right? And the reason I got this, we were talking about Greer Garson and Walter Pidgeon, and that's what they put in here. All the movies that they started together. And there they are. There they are. So they've got, I love it because it has like these little side notes they've got here, right here. They've got behind the scenes. Let me see what this says. Well, at the top here it says behind the scenes. Although Blossoms in the Dust, which is another good one about the adoption or the orphanage that she ran, although Blossoms in the Dust started her rise to stardom, Greer Garson didn't really like the film. A 1942 New York Times article quoted her as saying, "The screen is neither a platform or a pulpit." So, so they have, oh my, they've just got the neatest little things here. So this next paragraph right here, it says, in addition to Greer Garson and Walter Pidgeon, several others involved with Mrs.Miniver also reunited for Madame Curie. Actors Dame Mae Whitty and Henry Travers, producers Sidney Franklin, and cameraman Joseph Rudenberg. So, see, they just give you like these really cool little tidbits, and I just love that picture right there. I hope you can see that. That is just so neat. And then, hold on, when you get to the last page, so here are the little side notes right here. And this one is on Walter Pidgeon. And so he was born September 23rd, 1897, and died September 25th, 1984. So he died 2 days after his birthday of a stroke. And it says here, what I told you earlier, he was married 4 years to his first wife, and she died in giving birth to her daughter. And then he married his secretary, and they were married for 53 years until he died. So yeah, it is just a great, and they did the same with, on this side here, with Greer Garson. She was born Eileen Evelyn Greer Garson. And you know, some people would think, oh, Greer Garson, that was a name that they made up. But it was actually her name. It was part of her name. She just shortened it, took the first two names off. And she was also born in September on the 29th, 1904. So Walter Pidgeon was 7 years older than her. And she died in 1996. So yeah, she was 91 years old. And she was married 3 times. So yeah, and the last one was the longest, because she was married 38 years to her third husband. And then it lists here some of the movies that they don't list all 8 of them. They list 5, the top 5 that they really like, I guess they've got in here. But this is just, man, it's so great because it's got oh my gosh, such a great movie. Look at this one. This was, of course, from Gilda. That's Glenn Ford and Rita Hayworth. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I read it, and this is just something I could read over and over again. Now these two were a power couple. They were married 20 years, Vivien Leigh and Sir Laurence Olivier. So this is awesome. This was just really great. I just love this book. So yeah, I'm not gonna read you everything, but it is really cool. And again, this is what it's called in case you're interested in it. I'll see if I can find it on Amazon, and then I will put the link to it below. But there you go. No, not right now. I'll be there in a minute. I'll be there in just a minute. Anyway, guys, that is it for now. I'm gonna go. It's someone's nap time. You guys have a wonderful day. I've got a couple more videos that I'm putting out, so please be looking forward to that. Thank you to all my subscribers. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for Happy Mail. I'll be doing that here in a minute. And your support it's just wonderful. And it's wonderful to me that there are so many of you out there who also have a love of classic movies, yarny goodness, crocheting, chatting, whatever. It's just great. So thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you when I see you. Happy hooking.